Well, hey everyone, we are back at the Redeem Her Time podcast, and I love getting to bring on some favorite people in my world. And so today we're bringing on Stefanie Gass, who is someone I've been listening to now for over 3 years.
Yay.
And it's so fun because you teach about podcasting, and that's why I came to you. We'll talk about that in a
Right.
minute. But like when someone's in your ear through a podcast, you feel like you build this connection with them that you
Oh yeah.
don't get when you scroll on social past their post, right? So I
Mhm.
feel like you and I have been hanging out and having conversations all the time, but
Yep.
yeah, today we get to record it and let other people listen in.
So
So
fun.
yeah, so my audience may or may not know you. I mean, I do talk about you, so they may already know who you are, but like outside of business, first, start by telling us
Yeah.
who you are and like what are you, what's getting your time in this season of life.
Yeah. So hello everybody. And thanks, Lissa, for having me. Who am I outside of business? Let's see. I'm a mom. I've got two little boys and I am also a chicken mom. I have four hens. So I'm a wannabe little farmer over here with my my chickens.
So
Uh,
fun.
I love Jesus so much and put him first in every area of my life, which has been obviously an evolution of growing spiritually and growing and into this understanding that he truly has the best plans possible for every area of my life. And so I really prioritize that. As far as what has my time right now, well, I do run a seven-figure company at this point, all from my podcast, believe it or not, which is a top 20 show. So I work about 20 hours in my company. And then my kids, a lot of my time right now, we're in the trenches of baseball season and jazz band and piano
Yes.
and Bible club and all of the things. And then my health would be the other thing that I'm really focused on with intention right now. And that's been so fun, meal prep and being really focused with my workouts and things of that nature. So it's great. Life feels really balanced right now and really good.
Yeah, yeah. And when you invest time in those areas, your walk with the Lord, your relationship with your family, your health, your business, it does produce a good return on time invested. And,
Yes.
and it doesn't
It's
always
so
mean
fulfilling.
everything is perfect, but
Yep.
you're paying attention to what needs your time and attention. And that's important, not letting business take over life.
Yep.
Because I think that's something a lot of us fall into. And one of the
Yes.
reasons when I found you on another podcast. So shout out to podcasts out there as well as get you guys getting on podcasts. Like this is how you get seen, and I
Yep.
talk about like you will get way more out of being a guest on someone's podcast than continuing to post on social. So when I
Yes.
heard you on Polly Payne's podcast, I was like, oh my goodness, I need Steph. I have a podcast, I want to monetize it. So tell us a little bit about the business that you have. Like not only what
Yes.
do you do, how do you serve business owners, but like maybe kind of a little bit about how God brought you to this place, because I know there's always a journey, and I love hearing kind of like the God moments that have gotten you
Sure.
where you are.
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur for 17 years now. And I started in network marketing. That was my first experience to online business. And at that time, I did not have a close relationship with the Lord. I was a Christian. I would say I'm a Christian. I believe in God, but like I was not in it. And so I built this really successful company, I have air quotes, really successful business. It took me 5 years to do it. And it was at the expense of everything in my life.
Mm.
When we talk about time, all of my time was going to growing that business and getting those ranks and hitting that certain level of success. And I was putting everything second to that. And the way I was doing it was by working nonstop, taking calls, doing lots of one-on-one closing deals, making excuses around my family as to why it was going to make sense when I
Mm.
hit this rank, it will make sense that I'm not present, that I have an ear thing attached to my face 24/7. Like, so I did all of that for far too long. And what that did, as I was really idolizing the growth and success of that business, it started to really perpetuate a lot of other addictive tendencies for me because okay, I'm going to be addicted to success. And at the same time, I'm drinking too much. And my family has a history of alcoholism. And I was just looking for any excuse to start drinking at whatever time in the day. And so like as I constantly fed this quote unquote beast of like, time doesn't matter, stewardship doesn't matter, like all that matters is success, is this thing that I think is going to make me valuable or whatever. All the other areas of my life also started to follow suit, which I think is really interesting. So to make that long story short, I ended up hitting the top 1% of this company. I hit the top rank. And what followed was really interesting. It was about the time where all the network marketing businesses were coming out. And so everyone wanted to have the success I had, because really you're a salesperson. When you join a network marketing company, you're selling a product. Well, they wanted to go and get into the newest product. Makes perfect sense. But what really hurt me is that I couldn't recruit fast enough to fill the hole of everybody leaving. Within 12 months, my income had gone from multi-six figure to an eighth of what it was. And it was almost seemingly overnight that the whole thing fell out from underneath me. At the same time, I had just had my second child. I'm 60 pounds overweight, really struggling with like identity as this mom. Now I don't have success to hide behind anymore. We had recently started like trying to go back to church, trying to get closer to the Lord. And I had this day, Lissa, where everything imploded. I logged into my bank account and realized that we didn't have the money to pay the mortgage, because we had been living a lifestyle of, I'm just making it. And then all of a sudden I wasn't making it. And because I wasn't being wise, not only with my time, but also not with my money, not with my health, not with all of these things. I had to walk out to my husband that day and say, hey, like, we can't pay the mortgage this month. And I swear, like, the Holy Spirit must've dropped in, Lissa, because he was like, it's okay. We will borrow from Miles' savings account, which was our literal 2-year-old son, and pay the mortgage. And he's like, it'll be fine. And I'm like, like, is there anything worse in the world than not only having your husband answer you with grace and patience and kindness, but also the fact that you have to lean on your 2-year-old kid's savings account? And that was the day that I was like, enough. Like, I'm done. Obviously, I can't do this alone. Obviously, I have failed miserably. Obviously, I am not my success, because that's gone. Like, who am I? What am I doing? I can't. So I kind of came to the end of myself in my so-called like bathroom moment where you fall on the floor and you cry. And like, that was it for me. And I got out a notebook and pen and I started just journaling to God. What do I do now? Like, who am I? Like, who even are you in my life? And I just started opening these doors to this deep seeking and searching of how God could help me out of this black hole. And Holy Spirit just started journaling with me. I was saved when I was 9, but I just didn't know that there was more available from that point. Right. So Holy Spirit had always been with me, but I had really suppressed that piece of my life. And I started journaling, and it wasn't making any sense. It was like, I'm a kingdom business owner. I'm sober. I'm a present mom. I'm an intentional wife. I'm a speaker. I'm a leader. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't have even the vocabulary for some of these things. And I was like, that's crazy. So I'm writing all these things on this paper. And I knew that it was a word from the Lord, and that someday, somehow, I would be this woman on the paper. So I started fumbling my way forward to become her, and obviously not knowing, what do I do? And so I just started doing the things that the world was telling me of how to grow a new business and how to be present with my kids. And a lot of the things you talk about, right? Like, use time management and go on social media and grow this way. And I'm prayerfully leaning on God, but at the same time, like, God doesn't always speak to us in a big booming voice and say, do this. So I was trusting God and praying, but at the same time, trying to take messy action. So what ended up happening is I did start my own business. I did actually get sober. I did actually start treating my health in this really kingdom capacity, and everything was going pretty good in most areas of my life, except I would say in my time and in my business. So how I was getting a few clients a month was through social media. I was posting constantly on stories. Instagram was super hot. That was the one that really had me like in this handcuffs of like, this is where I can find a client. And I hired this whole company, and they were helping me, like, you go like and comment and follow, and then you're going to put up about 15 stories a day. And I'm doing everything they're saying. And it's 4 to 5 hours a day. I have little kids, Lissa, and I'm having to capture everything they do for social media, because I was told your mom that you want to serve has to resonate with your life. And so I'm feeling this discernment alarm go off of like, I feel like this isn't right, but I don't know what else to do. And I'm constantly just spending time on this app. Anyway, I go to church this one day, and this has been going on for like 3 years, and I'm just scraping in a client here and there, having to go to the DMs so many hours. I'm like, this is not it. Like, it doesn't feel good. I don't like it. I'm fully addicted to Instagram now, to social media. I cannot lay it down. I have 40,000 followers now, and I have thousands of likes on my posts, and I have thousands of people watching stories. I made it again, but something inside of me is like, this isn't how you're supposed to make it, and there was no money to show for it. It was very, very low. So at this point, we go to church one day, and it's like, it's time for a fast. And they were doing a fast for January or whatever. And I thought, what's the thing I don't want to give up? And it was my Instagram. I didn't want to give it up. And at this point, I had already been, you probably remember this, Lissa, I had been getting off social media every weekend for like 3 years before this, because I had already been feeling so in angst about it. I'm like, at least I'll get off on the weekend. I would delete the apps on the weekends, reinstall it, sell my soul for the week, get off again. It's like you're dieting Monday through Friday and then you binge eat all weekend. Like, that's kind of what was happening. And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to fast because I need a break for 30 days. And so I end up telling I had one person on my team at the time, I think, and was like, I'm not going on social media for a month. I had just started the podcast because I had been praying and praying and praying, Lord, how am I supposed to grow? How am I supposed to grow? It was October of 2018, crystal clear. I had a prophetic dream and heard, start a podcast. And I was like, a podcast? Like, I didn't listen to shows, didn't think that made any sense, didn't know what I would talk about, felt totally unequipped for that, but was obedient because I had really surrendered to God at this point, and I was growing in what that actually meant. And so I started this podcast. It was called the Mompreneur Mastermind Show back in the day. It was very ugly art, had an awful microphone, didn't know what I was talking about everything. And so nothing I teach today was in that first version of the podcast. And went all in on this fast. Within 1 month of fasting from Instagram, and I'm talking, I uninstalled it. Like, it was gone.
Wow.
I had 20 more hours of time per week, because instead of posting on Instagram for 4 hours, I'm like, 20 hours. Okay. So I started doing another episode on the podcast. I started emailing my list. I started using Pinterest. I started doing these other things that had a longer shelf life. And I am telling you, in 1 month, our email list exponentially grew. I had multiple clients hit me up from the podcast, and I was like, something's to this. I'm not going to go back. I did 6 months without Instagram. I hit my first 6 figures in my business within like very short time of that. I was having constant clients coming in through the inbox just from the podcast. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back. And I stayed off for 2 whole years off of social media completely, like absolutely completely, for 2 whole years. And my company passed multi 6 figures. And I went from $80 an hour as a coach to $800 an hour as a coach, hit I think at the time it was top 100 or top podcast in that category. Everything exploded, hired like 3 more team members. And I knew at that point, like, I am called, this is what the Lord has shown me, because this is the way I walk in it. And now it's my purpose. It's my mission to teach women how they can replace showing up everywhere with short form and selling their soul to social, and exchange it for this one simple long form method, which is podcasting. And that can be the lead generating machine. That can be the vessel to give them all their time back and produce much bigger results. So that's what I did. That's what I've been doing. I've now been doing this particular business for 7 years. I have a top 20 show now. Like I mentioned, it's just exponentially grown. I'm so grateful, so blessed. I work less than I ever have, feel so much more fulfilled in the work that I do, have helped thousands of students launch top shows. I have dozens of people that are highly high, like 7-figure earners, 6-figure earners, from following this method, who have their time back as well. So long story, but everything's in there.
I love it. And what's so interesting is I was listening and I'm like, you started off by telling us how amazing life feels right now and how balanced you were. And then we went down into the pit, right, of like how way out of balance everything was. And your time was totally going in the wrong places, and you were feeling the results of that. And then just how like God brought you out of that, like back up to this place where you are now. Like, but God,
talk about redeeming, right? Redeeming.
Yeah, talk about redeeming. And sometimes it's like, we have to get to those places to get to the end of ourselves. Like you said, like,
Yes.
okay, this is not about me, and this is not about what I think, it's going to take. And am I willing to sacrifice all of these other things for what I think is the thing that's going to give me the fulfillment? And then you get there, and like you said, it's not. And I was like you, because I'm a very much, I will check any box you put in front of me, especially
Yes.
if I think you know what you're talking about, which is why when I went through P2P stuff, I did every piece of homework. I did not skip one thing. I
Yeah.
showed up at every call. I did every, in the timeline. I wasn't like trying to make up stuff down the road before I didn't have access anymore. Like I was on it.
Yes.
Right. But the problem was, I was like you. I started network marketing. I was told to post on Facebook 8 to 12 times a day. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was
Yep.
exhausting and
Yes.
fruitless. And, and it is a time thing. And as business owners, the number one place we have to look is our time. And what related to that is our RODI, or return on time invested. So if I'm
Yep.
putting all this time in this area, what kind of result am I seeing? Or am I just checking boxes like a busyness owner,
Right.
hoping that one day the spaghetti is actually going to stick, or, whatever. So I love that. Really what you do is you help women get their time back. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Their
they grow a
business.
great podcast. Yes,
Yep.
they earn money. Yes, they,
Yeah.
get to do these things, get their message out. But really, it really comes down to that number one asset, their time.
Right. Yeah. I know
Yeah.
it was that way for me. And then that led to so much fruit in every other area. Cause I think when you shepherd and steward the time, and by that, it's like, what is the method you're using to fill the time? And when you learn the roadie methods that make the most sense, what happens is you become so wise, not just in one area, but in every area.
Yeah.
And it bleeds over, just like when we're not being wise stewards of time and we're just totally mistreating it, we start mistreating other things. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, how do you hold the line with who you are? And that permeates everything. Who you are. I am a boundary holder with my time, right? Like time is one of my number one priorities, because from there, now I boundary hold with other things. Other things that are my number one priority do not get pushed to the wayside. So it's like, it really teaches you who you want to become in a sense. And it bleeds into all these areas that truly matter, that make you the wholest version of you, God's version of you, who you were created to be. And it really does start with auditing and inventorying what is not working and why. And the question I ask my students all the time, why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why are you actually doing it? If you're doing that thing, is it producing you the result that you need? If it is not, it's either you're not showing up fully in it or it's not for you. And more often than not, it's just not for them. But they've never paused long enough to ask the question, why am I still doing it? Why am I posting 5 times? Why do I do reels that I hate? Why am I over here doing these 37 things? Like, why do I keep chasing the newest platform? I don't know why. Did somebody tell you? Have you ever had a sale from that place? Is it bringing you fulfillment? Did the Lord ordain it? If not, like maybe it's time to let go and really focus on one core method that has the biggest roadie in your business.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that you actually have ownership over. I mean, we all
Yeah.
know we do not own our social media, little
Yes.
little corner of social media or whatever. Like there have been times Instagram's gone down, Facebook's gone down, and people were
TikTok
like,
just did, like last month or something, or a couple months
yeah,
ago. It literally went down, and people had their entire livelihoods built on a social media app.
yeah,
And, no shade to those people, but even for me being in the network marketing industry, I didn't own that. And so
right.
as people started falling out, I had nothing left. And so that's why one of the things I teach my students, not only with podcasting, like, yes, we're building something you own, it's long form, but at the same time, it's something that's yours. Like
Yeah.
you are selling something that's yours. It's not somebody else's product. It's not somebody else's platform. You are giving value on a podcast, which is this long form, juicy content that it commands trust, because you're giving so much of yourself. Like Lissa said in the beginning, she's been listening to me for 3 years, and she is like, it's like we're friends. I know all these things. You've helped me. Lissa decided to come and join my program in mere months of hearing about me. And it's because the show gave her everything she needed to know. She didn't need to get me on a bunch of discovery calls. She didn't need to go watch my social media for 2 years. You just listen to a 20-minute episode and you're like, I like this person or not. this value is here for me or it's not. It gives you such a shorter runway to people's hearts and to helping people. And that's what ultimately makes the biggest difference in your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because we're told to be everywhere, post all the time, right? And work harder and just,
Yeah.
eventually it will all work out. And like you've showed us, it does cost us. It costs us our
Yeah.
time with God, our families, our health, our peace, like
Yeah.
all of these things. So take us through, like, I'm always like, okay, we know that's not where we want to stay, even if that's
Yeah.
still the mode we're in. So like, how do we start doing this differently? Like, how
Sure.
do we start
Yeah.
going, okay, I'm ready. I am going to lay this down or, and start building something that I own and that is going to have a good roadie, which you and I both believe is podcasting,
Yes.
because it does have a longer shelf life and so many other benefits to it. So give us like a couple of, quick steps as to like, how do we start moving in that direction?
Yeah. I think the first step is really identifying like, what do I actually want to do? The
mm,
question is so important. Like, what do I actually want to do? And the more niched down you can get with your answer, I teach my students, it's 3 tiers called the micro niche. And basically it's like the segment of the market you want to be in, the identifier within the market, and then the who you want to help. So for example, it could be like, I want to be in relationships would be the segment. And then I'm going to be in newlywed communication coaching. And then your who would be the newlywed wife. Like the
mm,
more drilled down you can be with what do I want to do and who is it for, the more foundation you have to go create something with clarity. Because what we try to do is like, well, I just want to make money online. So I'll just go build this random thing, or I'll just be start a podcast and be a lifestyle brand. I'll talk about spirit, body, mental, soul health. I'm like, please, like drill it in. We got to get really tight in this thing. Like, what do you mean when you say, and if you guys are struggling with that, peel the onion. So I want
yeah.
to help people who are married. Okay, great. With what? With communication. How? Well, I want to help them be able to talk face to face without the phones in their face. Okay, cool. How are you going to help them? So like ask yourself as if you were your own business coach, like, how am I going to do this? Give me an example. Drill until you have those 3 layers of micro niche. That's the first step. The second step then you want to ask is, how do I want to build it? Because in order to make money online, which I think is everybody's end result, to make money and impact, obviously, you have to first get out there and you have to edify yourself and you have to bring value to generate trust. You only have a few options. You can do short form like social. And I've seen quite frankly, out of my, I don't know how many people have gone through P2P, over 1,000, 2 people who actually make like 6 figures because of their social media account. And those people are influencers who they're just lucky, like, to be really honest with you. 2 people out of 1,000, like not great odds.
Not good roadie. Yeah. For
Your
most of us.
options are long form, which is highly 100% what I would recommend. And there's 3 pockets of long form. One is written, which would be blogging, not wrong, but very slow and harder to grow, especially now with AI. Second one is video, absolutely the hardest. I also have a YouTube channel. I waited till we had passed 7 figures in annual revenue before starting a YouTube, because one thing at a time, get one thing to flourish, blossom, and grow before you add the second. But let me be honest, it took over a year to even make a sale, and I know what I'm doing. I invested in coaches. It's about 10 times more expensive than podcasting, and it's a whole different ballgame.
And you got to be ready to be in front of a camera. Like, let's be honest.
Ready. Let's be ready.
Hello.
And yeah, that was the reason I didn't want to do YouTubing in the beginning, because I had at that time kids who were still home, and like, I told Lissa before I'm like, I want to get ready one time a week. Like that's
Right.
plenty for me. So the third one is podcasting, which is my absolute favorite. And the reason is you don't have to get ready. You're behind a microphone. It's very comfortable. You can edit things out. It's so easy, low barrier to entry, and it's the fastest conversion of all 3. So you have blogging, you have YouTube, and you have podcasting. YouTubing gets me sales sometimes in less than 30 days. And my product is a higher ticket product. Like, it's fast conversion to trust. And so here's the reason people don't. So that's what you need to do. Pick your long form, go all in, 12 months, don't look up. Okay.
Yes.
That's what you're doing. You're not doing 13.
It may take more time than you think or you want, but yeah.
And the reason I want to address that, like the reason people choose short form is it's a feel good. I'm going to see the virality. I'm going to see the likes. I'm going to see the comments. With podcasting, it is not a feel-good method. You don't feel great. All you see is this thing called downloads, and it's not really like feeling great. Like you don't hear from people. You don't know if it's making a difference. Sometimes they leave you reviews and that's wonderful, but most people quit before they get to their 10th episode. So
Girl, wow, that is crazy.
It's crazy. I tell my students, if you can just stick with it for 12 months, you will have ridden out 90% of the people in your niche, which means the last man standing is going to win. You're going to win if you just see it through. And this has been proven time and time and time again. So it's like, if you choose podcasting as your method, don't do it if you're for the overnight success. Don't do it if you're looking for the shortcut. This is for the people who are like, I want my time back. I want sustainability. I want to have this kingdom business that's going to take time to build and create. It's not a feel good. It's not an overnight, but it's one that's going to be sound no matter what happens in the online space. Like, I'm going to have a business I can depend on. I own it. It has a long shelf life, and you can continue to trust that your business isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, so I'm picturing roots. I'm picturing like those roots just going down deeper and deeper with every episode you do and getting to 12 months. And I'm also thinking too, Steph, like we are such an on-the-go society that even things like YouTube and social, I have to visibly be able to see it. I can't tell you how many times I've had you in my ear and I'm mopping the floor. I'm driving to town. I'm getting ready in the morning. I can picture where I was. I was polishing the leather on my chair in my living room when I first heard you and binged a whole bunch of episodes and was like I remember being like, you know, wax on, wax off, like this chair that my friend gave me that looked horrible. And I'm like, I'm gonna make this good while listening to Steph Gass. And guess what? Like I didn't put it off because I was too busy or whatever. Like I think this is perfect for our day and age is like, yeah.
And people are actually craving audible consumption more so than visual now. I think we're all really tired. I think the visual stimulation has become so overwhelming. And I know for podcast listeners, the other thing that's important for you guys, if you're discerning through, well, which long form is right? You know, podcast listeners are a different breed of people, just like Lissa attested. Like they're high performers. They're people who have habits and routines. They're people who are on the go. They're people who are bettering themselves. They're in the gym. They're coaching soccer, whatever. Like, and these people, when we look at statistics, also have much more discretionary income on average than people who don't listen to podcasts.
Well, hello, you're coming on a podcast to learn. You don't go on social to learn. You go to find the cat videos and whatever random thing. Like
we go to numb out. Yeah, I'm in a different posture when I'm like in my car and I go listen to somebody that I want to learn from than I am if I'm like laying in the bath and I want to find, you know, a workout short or something. Right. So you want to, where do you want to be positioned? Do you want to be positioned in the place of people who want to learn, grow, and invest? Or do you want to be positioned in the place where people got 30 seconds and you're boring? Like, I want to be there. So that's that second thing is you pick your long form and you start. Obviously, what I teach is strategy around starting. Like, it is important what we call the podcast. It is important what it looks like. It is important what we put out content-wise on the show. So we help with that in my program. And then the very last step is figuring out your one solution. So this would look like, what is the one offer? A lot of time I see people waste time and go awry because they try to create 5 things, 3 freebies, a small ticket, a medium. Like, no, we don't need all that. We just need a podcast and one core offer, and we can pass 6 figures, like super easy. We just overcomplicate. We waste time with all these things that our person doesn't want any of that. They just want help me for free and then give me an option to pay you to get me there faster. And if we can just remedy ourselves to it's really that simple, we can have success so much more quickly.
Yeah. Okay. I love this as a time strategist, right? I want to kind of circle back to like, how does investing time in podcasting over wasting time on social affect our time and our roadie? You know, like we've kind of talked about this or whatever, but kind of like pull it together for us around like, I mean, I even said before, like you are really helping people get their time back is really what it comes down to. So like, how does this really do that?
Sure. So, I mean, if you go short form, like social media, for example, I was spending 20 hours a week. And I do think that that's pretty average for people trying to grow their business on social media. If you really want that to be your way, to less than 2 hours a week podcasting, less than 2 hours a week. So that's 18 net benefit hours back in my pocket, which I then reinvested in my business and started working on other things that actually really mattered for conversion, like building my email list, sending one email out per week. We started really understanding, learning, and utilizing Pinterest, which is a visual search engine to drive traffic back to the podcast. I started being able to create my now program, Podcast to Profit. I had time to do that. And so that's really what it looks like. It looks like exchanging one thing that's a time suck for a very low outcome for something that's low time, high return from a income perspective. Also for me, it was like no brain space. I didn't even have to go see what people were saying about me, thinking about me, not liking my videos. Like, you don't know. So you just put out the content, you bless and release, and you go play with your kids. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about. I want a business that feels peaceful and where I have more time to then reinvest in whatever that most important thing is for that day.
Yeah. So good. So good. So what would you say to that person listening who she's like got her phone in her hand right now and she's like, okay, like, like how would you encourage her to like take the step to come over to the other side,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're at. Some people are like, oh, you guys sold me on, you sold me yesterday. I'm in, like, I'm throwing my phone away. I'm already started a podcast. Great. I have a boot camp. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Come there.
Yeah.
The people who are like, ooh, not feeling this. I started with baby steps and it took years. Like my very first step ever was deleting the socials from my phone for one weekend. And that is all I committed to. One weekend. And my phone actually had to break in order for this to happen. I was on vacation in Minnesota, phone breaks, can't get to an Apple store. And I told my husband, can I use your phone? He's like, no, like, I think you just need a break. I'm like, even he was like,
Wow.
And so, but that one weekend gave me so much fruit in how I felt in my life, the hours, not having to look at my kids through this lens of like, I should capture this, that I wanted and craved it. The Holy Spirit just convicted me that like, you got to keep doing that. So that was my baby step. I did it every weekend for 3 whole years before I had the courage to do a month, before I had the courage to do 6, before I had the courage to never go back. And so start with whatever baby step or boundary that you can commit to and know that it's okay for this to take time and that you can do anything through Christ who gives you strength. So pray for his help. Like one of my prayers as I was even stopping with alcohol was give me the desire to not want to drink. Give me the desire to not want to be on social media. Give me the desire to lay my phone down. Yeah. I prayed for the desire for things to change because maybe I didn't even desire it, but I knew it was the right thing to do. So that was one of the first prayers that I think can help you. And like Lissa has mentioned too, the closer you draw to God, the closer he draws to you. So open your Bible, try to find 15 minutes a day to like sit with the Lord, journal with him. Your best day starts with God all the time. So if you can make that a priority, that time investment, I promise you, it shifts everything.
Girl, that's like, I get out of bed. I mean, like this morning, honestly, I was like, it'd be really nice to kind of turn over and have a little bit more time. But my first thought was like, no, this is my time on the couch with my cup of coffee, me and Jesus in my journal.
100.
No way am I going to waste it laying in bed. And yeah, it's like, once you taste, the Lord, it's like those other things don't have the same, you don't have the same desire because it's like, oh, right. That's not even, it doesn't even compare. So I love this. I love our conversation. As a time strategist, I help with busy women, right, running businesses and running lives to say, where is a wise time investment? I'm here to tell everyone listening right now, what Steph has to offer is a wise investment. Like I will, say like, this is like, I'm not going to teach you how to build your podcast. I'll help you make that decision. Like, podcasting is where I need to go. This is going to be a good return on time invested. Then I'm going to send you over to Steph, who's going to give you the nitty gritty how-tos and all of that, right? So tell us then, like, where can people connect with you after this? How can they, you mentioned a boot camp, how can they start learning from you and start coming over into, this different way of investing time and seeing more from it?
So we actually have a gift for you guys as listeners of Lissa's. You can go to stephaniegass.com/bootcamp and it's StephanieGass.com/bootcamp. And if you use the coupon code Lissa, it's LISSA, you will get free access to my bootcamp, which will give you a 5-day training on how podcasting works to create profit. It'll take you through how podcasting works. Is it right for you? How do you build that one core offer? How do you get clear on who your person is, your messaging, your marketing, and then how do you scale it? So that's a 5-day experience. Again, free for you guys as a gift for a limited time. So go snag that. And then, of course, on my podcast, which is Online Business for Christian Women, anywhere that you guys listen to shows, I have over 850 episodes now that can help you in building a business that glorifies God, saving time, using podcasting, just all the things that go along with being a Christian CEO.
Yeah, I love this. And so, yes, we'll make sure we link to everything down in the show notes so people can come over and binge your stuff and find resources and support that are going to help them to redeem their time. So thank you so much, Steph, for investing time with us today, for pouring into us today. I want to end with a personal question, because there are a lot of things that could be getting our time and attention. And let's be honest, there are a lot of things that are demanding our time and attention or trying to distract it. But when you think about where you are right now, what is it time for? And what kind of roadie are you expectant to see God bring from that time investment?
That's a good question. What is it time for? Right now, for me, it's really just time for balance. It's time for this 20 hours of work, these after 3 p.m. evenings with my family and my workouts. And I think I've really hit that gold mine. And so it's to stay in it. That's what it's time for, to stay in it.
Yeah, yeah. And enjoy this season with your kids under your roof because,
Yes,
as an empty
that.
nester, I'm going to tell you, yeah, they grow
Yeah.
up and move out way too fast and start getting themselves places and just life looks different. So,
Exactly. That's the return on investment for me, is like
yeah,
soaking in the beautiful present moment. It's truly a gift where God has brought me after so many years of striving and hustling and obsessing about all the wrong things. It's like, I feel like I finally arrived. I like,
yeah.
this is what heaven on earth is and feels like. And I just want to be in that as much as I possibly can.
I love it. Well, keep investing the time the way you are, keep leaning into the Lord, and keep blessing so many people with what you do. So thank you so much for what you've meant in my life and my business, and also what you're doing for others.
Thank you, Lissa.